He's at the helm of a behemoth global online travel business facing increased competitive pressures as it continues to expand its portfolio. He's pumped and primed for the challenge, including the race, to be the first to create a connected trip across this legacy company's 20-plus brands. His guiding philosophy: imagine a better future by standing on the shoulders of past accomplishments without being shackled by them. Please welcome President and CEO Expedia Group, Mark Okerstrom.
Oh, thank you. Pumped and primed for the challenge. Did you write that?
I didn't. I usually do that. Thanks for agreeing to meet me for a cup
Of
of
course.
coffee with a few hundred of our closest friends and stream it online. That was really nice of you.
Excellent. Happy to do it.
Some people accused me of being too nice yesterday.
Yes. Are you going to go the other way this time?
Certainly not with my first question,
Okay,
Mark.
good.
So you're 2 years in.
Yes.
You're facing some challenges.
Yes.
We'll get to them. If you've got 25, maybe 30 brands, that one more brand at the top of it all, there's the Expedia Group. There's also brand Mark Okerstrom.
Yeah.
What do you want to be the signature, the hallmark of the Mark Okerstrom era at Expedia?
Listen, I aspire to continue the legacy of the great things that have gone before us and leave Expedia a better place than it was when I showed up. And that's the aspiration, that's the guiding principle, and that's what we strive to do.
Do you think when you came in that a lot of the growth was kind of over? Was the timing not best?
I don't know about the growth being over, but I think certainly we took the perspective and laid out three real strategic imperatives, which is being more customer-centric, being locally relevant on a global basis, unleashing the power of the platform, and really pushing ourselves into the geographic opportunity that was available to us, adding more properties, pushing ourselves to collaborate more effectively across the company. And I think we made a lot of great progress, and I think there continues to be opportunity for us going forward. Had we started that a few years earlier, would we have been more successful? Yeah, I think absolutely. But I think ultimately what we've done over the course of the last couple of years has resulted in better products for our customers, and I think that's the primary goal.
So one of those that you bring up a lot is this: be locally relevant on a global scale. It's difficult sometimes from the outside to see what is the international strategy of Expedia. Yeah. So how about we talk about it this way? What are the two most important regions for you outside of the U.S.?
So we haven't spoken about the specific regions that we've been focused on, but you can imagine the big markets include Europe, they include Asia, Latin America. And we've been basically taking the approach of saying, hey, where do we have essentially a big opportunity, and where are we closest to sort of achieving full potential in terms of producing a great product, and prioritizing markets that way. And yes, there's been countries in each of those regions that we've been going after.
So I think you said Europe and Asia, most important. Booking has roots in Europe.
Yeah.
And Asia, it's kind of looking like a Booking versus Ctrip battle at the moment. They have an interesting strategy there of a lot of brand marketing, particularly in China, and partnering with local super apps. Yeah. What's wrong with that strategy?
Listen, I don't want to talk about their strategy. I think it's, China is a highly competitive and crowded market. And I think when we exited Elong, we took the perspective of saying, listen, we're going to focus on the inbound market. We're going to focus on the outbound market. And that's been predominantly our focus. And our Expedia Partner Solutions business has been working well with players across Asia, including players in China, to power them with our inventory. And I think that's been a good growth driver for us going forward. And we'll see whether or not integration with super apps, et cetera, becomes the thing to do. Certainly that would be something we would explore if it started to get traction.
So a couple weeks ago, earnings call, missed on targets by
Yes.
10%.
Yes.
A good 25% drop the following day, and you pointed to search as a big problem.
Yeah.
How did you get in this position that you are that dependent on SEO? We've all watched as Google goes deeper and deeper into travel and making it harder and harder for you to reel in shoppers that way.
Well, I think first of all, we do have a diverse set of marketing channels. So I think, is SEO a meaningful channel for us? Yes, I think absolutely. But it's certainly not our only channel. We continue to have strong growth in our direct channels, and we've spoken about that. And the direct channels overall are growing very nicely in the quarter. Room nights were up 11% for the quarter. But that said, I think any business that is in the internet over time, develops a certain amount of organic traffic, and we have just like everyone else. And we've been working hard over the course of the last, many years to actually diversify sources of traffic and start to drive more direct and building more differentiation in the app and continuing to shift spend to brand marketing channels, and that that continues to be a strategy for us going forward.
So room nights are up, but rates pretty flat. What's going on there? Is that the economy? Is that private accommodations?
I think there's a few things going on. I think obviously there's industry-wide factors where ADR growth has been slowing down, and certainly in some regions more than others. And I think for us too, as we have added more properties in secondary and tertiary destinations, and we have added more alternative accommodations, we've certainly seen more of a shift to lower ADR properties as well as we have made that transition.
We all heard yesterday that some aspects of travel are
Complicated?
complicated.
My check-in experience was amazing. But
Glad to hear it.
it really was.
So what do you think, and when you think of the travel experience, is the hotel check-in experience worse or the flight experience worse on a, not just looking at the CEOs in the travel industry, but broadly? The people.
Listen, I think we could point at all of them and say there's room for improvement. I think the overbooking issue is something that just causes pain. But ultimately, you've got so much money invested in these assets, and obviously the aircraft that it's not surprising that people are using predictive technologies to basically say, well, how much more can I overbook so I can get to full asset utilization? Can we do a better job and help the industry do a better job? And can the industry itself do a better job communicating and providing trade-offs? I think yes, obviously yes. But I think that the underlying behavior, obviously we totally understand why it happens.
It's hard to imagine a time when someone would run into that situation and say, I'm so glad I had the Expedia app. Do you envision that being something you can help with?
Well, I think certainly if we can help with creating that direct line of communication between the property and the customer and give them advanced notification and maybe give them some options, I think that's certainly something that we would, that we're interested in doing and something that we'd be focused on and making sure, and we've spoken about the two-way dialogue that we've been building on the platform to enable that. So yes, ideally that would be something that we would get involved in over time.
Private accommodations. So
Yes.
you went in pretty hard on Verbo. It took us a while at Phocuswright to stop saying VRBO, but we do it now. But you did a big brand push, and then reported it was 5% growth in gross bookings.
Gross bookings, yeah.
Is it too early to see the results of that, or what are your expectations for Verbo?
Well, I think Verbo continues to be a great place for families and groups to book. They've got incredible inventory of big whole homes, And the traditional VRBO brand, which was strong in the U.S. and to some extent Canada, has been a brand that's stood for that over time. And so, yeah, we continue to see opportunity to expand that brand on a more global basis and to really crystallize essentially the link between its value proposition and the brand over time. But listen, the business is, as we've spoken about, transitioning from a business that had a number of different brands and a number of different platforms, and we've done a lot of platform consolidation work, and that has taken a toll on the overall top line of the business. But Verbo itself continues to grow in double digits, and we're looking forward to continuing to expand it.
And that focus on, it seems like you're really going in on the family trip, and why not push the other direction and go directly against the competition?
Well, I think like anything, you've got to pick kind of where you're going to play and how are you going to win. And I think for Verbo, really the decision for them was made. Let's play to our strengths, and we've got some real strengths here, and let's get focused on delivering on the true value proposition that we know we can do very well.
What's stopping Airbnb from increasing its focus on that space? And they've got a really strong brand, and killing you there.
Well, listen, I think it's a highly competitive industry, obviously, but Verbo's got great relationships with its owners. It's got a great, strong brand name in that space. You've got established consumer behavior, and they're going to continue to innovate and create new products and features to actually resonate with that segment. And that's what you do in this industry. Continue to innovate and continue to push to be the best for customers and partners.
Yeah, they're branching out a lot, right? Experiences, bringing in hotel tonight, flights at some point, looking more and more like a full-service OTA.
Yeah.
So do you think a year from now, do you think you'll be getting more questions about Airbnb or Google?
Wow, good question. I think it's hard to say. Again, it's a competitive industry, and I think we certainly are more interested in getting questions about what are we doing and how are we innovating in the space. And again, everyone is interested in being in all aspects of travel, and that's where Expedia was born, and that's where we're going to continue to innovate. And we think we've got obviously some incredible customer base. We've got incredible technologists and product folks that are innovating in this space all the time, and we're going to keep pushing away.
Maggie, we have a question from the floor.
Hi, Mark. So some of your competitors, such as TripAdvisor, Airbnb, Booking.com, have really focused on responsible tourism and sustainable tourism, including animal welfare. They have all decided to end the sales of Captain Dolphin venues, citing cruelty. When and will Expedia be doing the same thing? Yeah.
So it's something we're actively looking at, and we have over the years taken a number of animal-related tours and activities off the site. We are having discussions. We're also talking to and working with various accreditation boards to make sure that we're striking the right balance between ensuring that animals are treated well and that we also give customers the experiences that they're looking for. So it's an active discussion for us right now.
So I too love dolphins and puppies and all the animal kingdom.
Yes.
But I think that travelers have shown more concern recently or been more annoyed at resort fees.
Yes.
And you have said that you're pushing down properties with a resort fee in results. Why not just make it clearer up front?
Yeah. Well, so the goal is ultimately to make it transparent to customers around what are the fees, and we've been working with our partners to making sure that we've got all the data and that we can surface that as quickly as we can up in the funnel. And the goal with search results is really just to put all the properties largely on equal footing, so that if you are dividing your average daily rate between rate X plus a fee, that ultimately that fee is included in the whole rate when we think about sort orders, so that there is more of a level playing field between all of the different properties. And yes, that does translate into essentially what we look at is essentially the offer strength, the competitiveness of a rate versus peers. And if you are ultimately with resort fees at a higher rate all in, that you will end up seeing a move down in the sort order. But ultimately the goal is just to look after the interests of customers and making sure that we are completely transparent about what they pay and the value they get for it.
I think it was just a few months ago that you commented, all this sort of hype around tours and activities. I don't get it. We've had it for a long time. We've been there.
I don't know if I said I didn't get it.
But it was essentially, why all this excitement about everybody else? We've been doing it for a while. But clearly people think that there's an opportunity that you haven't quite sewed up that position. If you've had that head start, why isn't Expedia the first stop for tours and activities?
Listen, I think we've got teams that are focused on doing better. I think in an organization as large as ours that is doing multiple things, oftentimes you get resources that are prioritized against different priorities. I think certainly mobile opened up the opportunity for us to be stronger there, and our activities team is focused on 2020 on making sure that we improve the customer experience, we improve the partner experience, we find more ways to reach out to customers either in stay or ahead of their stay, and ultimately I think we all recognize that it is a great opportunity, and we're going to continue to innovate and try to take advantage of it. And certainly we do recognize that there have been players that have been very focused solely on it, and I think they have made great progress as well. But it doesn't mean that for the Expedia customers we can't also do a better job serving up the activities that they like.
Do you think that it's worth launching an activities brand, or?
I don't know about a different brand. I think we've got a number of, as you called out, we've got a number of brands and a number of great brands that stand for essentially the complete trip.
So you've shared that Expedia has achieved equal pay for equal, based on position, men and women on a gender basis. And you've signed on to this CEO Action Pledge, which is nice. I have a couple questions. One is, I like women at least as much as I like dolphins and puppies. Yes. Why the focus on women always makes me a little uncomfortable, because ultimately it kind of means white women. And there's so much more. Why are we so focused when we talk about diversity just in this one area?
Well, I think firstly the study you're citing around equal pay was a study that we did a while back, and it was actually level adjusted. But certainly we do strive to make sure that we've got equal pay across the board. Listen, we focused on gender initially from the standpoint of diversity, and we're focusing on inclusion for everyone. So, and I think we've got to be careful around the distinction between those two things. I mean, we are focused on making sure that across Expedia Group, all of our employees feel like they are able to come to work and do their best work and be valued for who they are and feel absolutely comfortable and empowered to succeed. And that is the goal of our inclusion efforts. And as it relates to gender, listen, I think again we wanted to pick an area where we felt like we could make a focused effort and make a real difference, and we have made a real difference over the course of the last 5 to 7 years. Have we made enough progress? No, I think we have to make more progress, and part of us signing on to the pledge was to declare to the world and declare to ourselves that we're committed to making more progress across both diversity and inclusion.
And is there anywhere in the vision for that pledge to move it to something that also includes standards? You mean you could do things like parental leave standards, for example, or pay standards? Is that in the roadmap for that group?
Yeah. Well, I think that group is going to be looking at exactly what are the goals, how are we going to measure them. Those things are certainly on the table for us to take a look at.
Maggie, we have a Slido question. How does the partnership with Marriott fit with Expedia's long-term goals? Will we see more hotels contracting wholesale through Expedia?
Someone's looking at my notes. That was my next question.
Yeah, well, listen, I think we are super excited about the Marriott partnership, and really what the goal of this was to take advantage of the incredible network of relationships that we built up over the years and the connectivity with different players across the industry, and allow Marriott to ultimately be in a position where they could take advantage of that and ultimately get much better control over the customer experience and the rates that ultimately they're pushing out into the industry. I think it's a great opportunity for again across the board, across a number of our other partners, and I think it's a great indication of how we can leverage the incredible platform we've built for the benefit of our partners, and we certainly over the course of the last number of years have been working to find ways where we can work with our partners on much more win-win ways, where we can have much less of a us versus you discussion and actually find new ways of creating value. And I think this is a great example of it, and we're optimistic there'll be more to come.
Shortly after that, I don't know if it was coincidence, but
Yeah.
Hotel Beds cut its workforce 5%. Are you in competition with bed banks?
I think in some aspects of our business, we are in competition with bed banks. I think the players that have the consumer relationships, that have the distribution, obviously are looking for sources of supply, and I think there are a number of players going after it. And our Expedia Partner Solutions business, is certainly one of them. But we're not competitive in all places. I mean, we don't offer a lot of the great things that Hotel Beds does, and we offer a lot of great things that they don't. So in some aspects we are competitive with them, but not completely overlapping Venn diagrams.
Have a sip. You were going to take a drink. I didn't mean to.
No, that's
We're almost there. Everyone's a little dehydrated this morning. Loyalty.
Yes.
Loyalty as you try to sew together this connected trip.
Yeah.
You've got all these brands. Loyalty seems like a lever that you try, and Hotels.com is becoming a really respected program, but we don't see loyalty driving consumer behavior a ton in our research. Do you think it's something that you can meaningfully leverage across the brands?
I think it's a question of whether we can leverage them across the brands. I think it's something that we've been interested in exploring as to whether or not you do create a broader Expedia group type program. But we are very happy with the Hotels.com program. I think we hit 50 million members recently. Continues to be a fantastic program for participants, particularly for frequent travelers. Of course, you've got to have the great rates and selection, and you've got to have a great competitive product along with it, because having a great consumer experience is the great, that's the loyalty program ultimately. But listen, we're happy with the Hotels.com program, and we continue to invest behind it.
All right, so we're almost done here. I'm just going to do a little quick lightning round of either or. Hockey or football?
Hockey.
Netflix or Disney Plus?
Netflix right now.
AR or VR?
VR.
Space travel or deep sea exploration?
Oh, deep sea exploration?
Those dolphins again. They're not all the way down there, though.
I don't think so.
Klook or Get Your Guide?
Oh, I can't pick a favorite. Tons of respect for both of them.
We couldn't pick either. We put them both on stage, I understand.
Yeah.
Amazon or Google?
Oh, boy. Amazon?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Mark Okerstrom.
Thank you.
All adventures come with risks, but you don't have to take it on alone. Our travel insurance and assistance plans, coupled with award-winning customer service, can help provide a sense of security during your travels. So go on, explore, and be fearless. We'll be here, ready to answer the call if you need us. Learn more at travelguard.com.